Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news, discussion, and, of course, a whole lot of opinions about Brandon's works and the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and I'm also editing this in post, but this episode we have Alex, Matt, and Shannon. We're continuing on talking about the Kholins. Last time we talked about Gavilar and Navani and their relationship. We thought that we could get that all done in one episode, and that was not the case. So now we have this episode where we're going to talk about Elhokar, Aesudan, and Jasnah, and it's great. Also, there's going to be 2 more episodes where we talk about Dalinar's side of the family. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time, although next week we'll not have a Kholin episode, because there's the Legion release. So we will come back soon with more Kholins. Don't worry. Enjoy the episode. I kind of want to talk more about Elhokar. I'm gonna do Elhokar.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Elhokar.
I find Elhokar to be one of Brandon's best written characters, and
I'll agree with that.
What a bold statement.
Now, the reason why I say that is not like when you read Way of Kings, you do not like Elhokar, right?
Yeah.
You definitely
when I read
don't.
Words of Radiance, I don't like Elhokar.
Well, yeah, but very quickly in Way of Kings, Brandon shows you that Elhokar is, out of his depth, irresponsible, and whenever I read Elhokar's scenes, I'm always like, he always has such a distinct voice when he talks of like this. He's not a teenager, but it just feels like a teenager.
He is the most
like,
insecure person in the room at all times.
Like, if you read the scene with, where Dalinar kicks Elhokar at the end of Way of Kings. I don't know.
It's satisfying.
I just always have this voice in my head of this, kind of snotty kid in Elhokar, and it's just so distinct that I just think it's masterful of Brandon that he doesn't need to use a lot of adverbs and adjectives to describe that. You can just read his dialogue, you know exactly what that sounds like in your brain. That's why I think he's very well written in that way.
So from this word of Brandon that Shannon was reading earlier from Mrs. Jaffu, Brandon also goes on to say that Elhokar lives in a lot of shadows in his life. And, I think that's really indicative of his character because he is living in Navani and Gavilar and Jasnah's shadow, and even Dalinar and Kaladin's shadow later. And I think he kind of gets the short end of the stick because he's surrounded by all these incredible people. Like, we don't have a Jasnah in real life. She's like an Einstein, kind of a 1 in a million people, and that's his sister. So,
that's true.
And Dalinar also, he's really bad at just taking control of the situation. I think Dalinar could be more supportive and more helpful to Elhokar, but kind of the way he knows how to do things is just take over. So I do like to give Elhokar a little more credit than he gets in the book sometimes.
I mean, Dalinar certainly tries to let Elhokar rule, but he's just bad at it.
Yeah.
So Dalinar's like, I guess I'll do some stuff. So he does get the short end of the stick. Yeah.
I will say on the idea of Elhokar being a well-written character is that Elhokar's progression in the eyes of the reader is done very well. For all of Way of Kings and most of Words of Radiance, he is like an annoyance that the characters have to deal with.
Yes,
who causes
absolutely.
problems, and you're like, oh my god, can someone just shove Elhokar in a closet and lock him there for a little bit so he stops doing stupid things?
Which is why the Dalinar kick to Elhokar is
right, and
so
you're like, it's so
very
satisfying. Like, thank
satisfying.
God. He faked his own assassination attempt. We've been dealing with this the whole book. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Elhokar, I want to strangle
He's
this
just
guy.
such a brat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like, by the end of Words of Radiance, all into Oathbringer, up to the point in part 3.
Rip.
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 Like, there's this very good, it's a subtle change, but it's definitely noticeable of Elhokar becomes a much more, like, you sympathize with him, you kind of see his side, and you feel bad for all of the things he's had to deal with. You're like, oh, he really is a guy who's kind of, he's not doing a great job, but he's kind of trying his best.
He's
in
trying,
way over
and
his
it's
head.
just...
he's not kind of trying. He literally is trying his
His
best.
hardest.
But he
Ugh.
is a character who doesn't get to succeed. He doesn't
No.
get to succeed
No.
at what he tries. And-
His whole weird dynamic with Kaladin is just like so sad. Of like,
It is.
please send the hero along so that when I fail, he'll be there to save the day.
Oh,
It's like,
And it's like,
Elhokar.
you can't even, he's not even fishing. Like, he actually believes that. You
yeah,
can
literally
tell.
does. Oh.
But and as the reader, why it's so sad is because you look at Kaladin and it's like, yeah, Kaladin does have a lot to teach him. And so that's like the really sad part. That it's just, yeah, no, that does
It's
make
like,
sense,
he's-
Elhokar.
He's not
but
wrong,
You're
unfortunately.
not wrong at all. But
So-
he does try, and that's the wonderful thing about him going into Kholinar and leading and, you know, having some good ideas. And, you know,
Yeah.
he obviously lets competent people do those things and execute them. But his, like, core of his idea is, you know, they're good. He's trying. And I think once you realize that he's trying and not just being a little twerp, you know, that...
Well,
helps
it was like,
a lot.
it was such, like, looking back, you can tell it's such a conscious choice of Brandon's to have him not be that sympathetic in the first couple books,
Mhm.
and then knowing what his path, his cutoff path,
Dang you, Brandon.
curse you, Brandon,
Ah.
it's sort of like, you can see, like, oh, it's so intentional, like, the way he, like, it almost like he shifts, like, the camera, like, so you can almost see, like, a little bit, like, you get a different angle on Elhokar, and
It's really masterful, I think, how quickly that shift happens, too.
It's super
In
fast.
Oathbringer,
in
like,
Words
it's
of-
like,
Yeah.
well, in
oh, we're
Words of
not annoyed with
Radiance.
Elhokar anymore. We actually love him. Oh, now he's dead. Like, it was
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, true.
boom.
And it's not necessarily an obvious change either, despite how sudden it is. Because I feel like you've read books where you're like, oh, all of a sudden we're spending too much time with this character. They're definitely going to die. And, like, I don't know about, maybe there's someone out there who's like, oh, Elhokar's too sympathetic. He's going to
Marked
get
for
killed in part
death.
3. Here we go.
Maybe,
But
maybe someone. Yeah.
I didn't really see it coming, and it hit hard because
I
Brandon had
didn't see
done
it
that
coming
setup,
either.
and
he did, like, it
got
was
the
just like a
payoff
couple
out of me.
hints. Except there was a couple hints that he was, like, starting to be more sympathetic. It was a couple hints that he was, like, maybe going to be, like, the Radiant starting before, like, for me, it was about when they were in Kholinar, and it was something about, like, the disguises, and Elhokar, like, just loved the disguises. And it was-
yeah.
He just adored it, and there was just something there that was like, oh, well, maybe, you know, like, maybe he's not the man I thought he was. Maybe he's going to start to, like, take a little bit more active role. And then that's what happened. And, you know, so it felt like, you know, just like the expected journey does not get to happen.
I think it's one of the best times Brandon has grown a side character to be something more, and he didn't even need to give Elhokar a viewpoint. Like, man, from a
No,
writing
yeah.
perspective, it's really great. You just see him as that twerp, basically, and he grows, and then he gets killed, and you're just like, oh no, that's awful. Because Elhokar in a different book could have grown to be, like, really great, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
Like, if he had, like, 2 more books, he probably could have been as awesome as he tries to be, right?
I mean, one of the things that, like, really shows off what Brandon did with Elhokar is, looking back on it, I think Elhokar's death hit me as hard as Kelsier's did. And you love Kelsier from the beginning. He's designed to make you love him. And I bet midway through book 2, you were like, oh my god, I'm going to kill Elhokar. Please, just get rid of him. Like, everyone would have cheered if it had happened a book earlier. And then it was so good. It was so well done. So tragic.
I know.
I think, well, that is the tragedy of it, was that he almost, the tragedy of almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. This is one of those great character deaths. That's like, wow, this is good. Maybe let's talk about relationships. And, we've talked a lot about Jasnah, but I kind of want to start with someone we don't get a lot of Elhokar's interaction with, which is his wife, Aesudan.
Yeah.
So let's maybe talk about that a little bit.
I mean,
Elhokar seems naive about her.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
a little
When a teensy little bit naive.
And I'm not clear how much of Elhokar's, so when we see the rescue and he just refuses to accept A, that she's doing anything wrong, and B, that she's like actually a villain. What I'm kind of unclear of is how much of that is, oh, I love Aesudan, and how much of that is, oh, I'm Aesudan's husband. My role is to be her protector and for her to be a good... So I'm kind of unclear on how much affection there is between them and how much of it is Elhokar just trying to live up to his role as husband and king.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, right. Because that's obviously central to who he is.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Living up to that.
I will say this. The vibe that I got off of Elhokar regarding Aesudan was not necessarily that he was naive about her, but it was almost like Thalen Passion style desperate, like, I need this to work. I need her to be a good wife who will complete my weaknesses, and if I just want it hard enough, it'll be fine.
You know what? I like that better.
Yeah.
More willfully blind than naive.
Yes. Like, I think if he could have, like, stepped back and admitted it to himself, he knew deep down, but he didn't want to admit. He just wanted them to be a good match. And, I mean, he says something about, I needed Aesudan. Like, nobody ever liked her, but she was what I needed. It's like, I mean, yikes.
That's...
that's so
if you're
sad.
if you're in a relationship like that where you need someone to like complete your faults and you don't want to let go, that might not be a good relationship.
I'm gonna
Shardcast
say
relationship advice.
I'm gonna say on the record that is an unhealthy relationship dynamic. You are a whole person, Elhokar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To the point that for a whole book, the only thing we knew about Aesudan was that Jasnah was ready to kill her at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a word of Brandon where someone asked why Jasnah wanted to potentially assassinate Aesudan, and Brandon said, Jasnah felt that Aesudan was seeking to usurp power and was reckless for another, and so Jasnah was worried about the safety of the throne, and it's like, yeah, I definitely feel that Aesudan is very ambitious.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that definitely led to her downfall, for sure.
Yeah.
With whatever unmade she was courting and how early that happened, we don't really know the details, but it's not like that would be out of character for Aesudan to be talking to beings like that.
I don't even necessarily get the sense off of her that she was like crazy manipulative of Elhokar. I think Elhokar was just in a position where he was like very open to being manipulated that way. Like,
and when did they get married too? Like, they got married pretty soon before he left for the Shattered Plains, right?
Well, they were married on the night of Gavilar's death.
I feel like that wasn't too far before that, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't think it's mentioned explicitly.
But I mean, it is just really sad that Elhokar could just be willfully blind. That's like, Aesudan, ambitious, smart, can get what she wants done. That's what I need, and then she's awful.
Yeah.
And, Elhokar's judgment in her character is probably good, except for that whole morality part,
Also, maybe her ability to manage the kingdom while he's gone.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
I actually just had a thought. I wonder if part of Elhokar overlooking her flaws is a family fault. Because we've talked about the Kholins as allies, in that idea of, if I bring you into my family, you're a Kholin, and that means you're loyal to us, and all of that ambition and cunning that you have, she's just going to use that for us now, because she's a Kholin, and Kholins stick together. I wonder if that's part of it, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true.
I also would love, Navani kind of mentions this in her, when she first arrives, that she was kind of feeling out of place at court when Aesudan was running things. But I think that would be an interesting relationship as well. Mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, with this dynamic of her being really ambitious, but also Navani maybe relating to that because she also kind of married into power.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder.
That's a good point.
I wonder how much Jasnah tried to stop them from getting married. I wonder if she told Navani hey, I think this is a really bad idea, and she is no good. Did Navani know that Jasnah had these thoughts about Aesudan? Even before?
Well,
we just don't know enough about that time.
On that, Alex, how much is Jasnah directly in Kholinar all the time?
That's also true.
She that could have happened where she's off on the other side of the world doing who knows what, right?
Also, how much do you trust Jasnah about her brother's significant other? One thing we know about Jasnah is from her tutelage of Shallan is she has very high standards.
Extremely.
And she's also very protective of her family.
That's something of an understatement.
So, I feel like Jasnah being Mom, this girl's not right for Elhokar. He needs someone different. Navani's just yes, dear, knowing that no matter who Elhokar ended up with, Jasnah would probably think they're trying to assassinate them. And
Elhokar, you can do better. You'd say that about anyone.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of wonder if maybe Jasnah did express concerns, but people didn't listen because
that could be true.
Oh, Aesudan. Aesudan was really cool in Oathbringer. I don't know. I thought that was great. And also just I thought it was really masterful of Brandon how little we got of Aesudan in Words of Radiance, and you're like, oh man, what is going on in Kholinar? And then you see it this is real bad. This is real bad.
Well, it's sort of you get the right before things erupt, and you're like, oh my gosh, Kholinar is going to be in so much trouble, and you have no idea. You go to Oathbringer, no idea. Nothing prepares you for how bad it actually is.
Yeah.
I just realized. I said that all we got out of Words of Radiance about Aesudan was that Jasnah wanted to kill her, but that's not true. No. Because Pai's interlude is in there.
Yeah,
I just remembered it, and I was like, oh yeah.
Oh, it's she's really in excess, and I don't know how much of that is because she was already in the thrall of
Yelig-Nar.
Well, Ashertmarn for for her feasting all the time, I think was mentioned in the Pai interlude even, and letting others starve.
The waste.
So it could have the Unmade All could have been there already.
Yeah, could have also been trying to attract him.
Oh, that's an interesting point, actually.
By being
I really like that.
Gluttonous and revelry, trying to, because Spren are drawn by the thing that they are.
That is
such a good point. And I like that very much.
I like that a lot. Yeah. I mean, it could definitely go either way, but I'm
inclined to believe it because she seemed very conscious and intentional of what she was doing, even if Elhokar didn't believe it.
It was a plan. Mm-hmm.
It was a plan. It almost makes me wonder if Gavilar told Aesudan things.
That's just what I was thinking. I'm like, this feels almost like a Gavilar style plan. right?
Hey, do you want some dark spheres, my son's new wife?
Like, and
Let me tell you about these.
Like, you know, and one thing is, like, we don't know that much about where Aesudan came from. We know little.
Basically nothing.
But we know that Gavilar tried to set Jasnah up with someone from the Sons of Honor. What are the chances that Aesudan also has connections to the Sons of Honor?
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
This is not just the Kholin podcast. This is the Kholin conspiracy podcast now. We are figuring so much out that might not actually be real.
To be fair, Alex, this is Keeping Up with the Kholins Part 1, Gavilar Edition, which is the conspiracy edition.
That's true.
Okay, right? Oh, man. And here I thought we were just going to talk about our feelings about characters and not, like, sweet theories about things. Oh, man. Not that we haven't gotten sweet theories about, you know, all these relationships.
No, this is, I love it.
This is great. This is great. But really, we don't know anything about Aesudan, really, at all. Other than, she's dead. Elhokar consumed her, so rip Aesudan too.
That is
dead.
Also something we will probably, I'm guessing, see in Jasnah flashbacks, is Aesudan entering, potentially. Depends on how important it is, I guess, at that point in the story.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, we didn't get any of Dalinar, Navani, Gavilar love triangle in Dalinar's flashback, and so Brandon only has a limited amount of flashbacks to tell the story arc the book needs.
Yep,
and I don't know how much Aesudan will be important, but, I mean, Jasnah did hire an assassin. So, you know.
Almost. Not quite. I guess she hired her to watch. But.
Yeah, hired her to watch, not to, like, do anything. But
the other thing about... Okay, so that flashback, though, where she's hiring the assassin, that's 6 years before the events of the book, right?
Correct.
So there's a timing thing I'm curious about with the age of Elhokar and Aesudan's son.
Yeah.
Because he
Not
wasn't
born yet.
He wasn't born yet at that point, right?
No way.
Right.
No.
So
the kid is like 3,
young.
right?
Yeah. So it's in, you know, was part of Jasnah's thing also being like, oh, I want to make sure the heir to the throne is not connected to Aesudan and whoever her, you know.
That's true. Once she's the mother of the heir, she's harder to get rid of.
I mean, this Jasnah's not a very trusting person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess, like, do you think it was no, this was before Gavilar was assassinated, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So this was, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, things hadn't changed yet. Never mind. No, this was straight up just her being ready to get Aesudan down just because. She saw something bad in her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if Jasnah suspected that Aesudan could usurp power, oh man, I imagine.
Well, I was
going to
say, something like, if it was after the assassination of Gavilar, then it would be like leaving the queen in charge of things is a really important position, as we have found out. How much it changed, leaving Aesudan there, kind of lost them Kholinar entirely.
Yeah.
So had, like, you know, hindsight 2020, had we known just how bad she really was, Jasnah definitely would have.
I almost feel like Elhokar was maybe blinded. Maybe didn't love Aesudan, but
yeah, I don't necessarily think he loved her. I think he just saw something.
We don't know.
I think he loved the idea of her.
Yeah, I think he saw something in her that he wished he had.
Mm-hmm.
He very well could love the idea of a person.
It's like, isn't that just what love is, Alex?
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Wow. Ooh, man. Aesudan's so cool. Also, her name is really cool.
It is. It's a great name.
There. Like, I like the name.
I'm sad it was wasted on her, to be honest.
I think it's a good villain name. I don't know. I like it.
I do like the name very much.
Mm-hmm. I will say, back in Way of Kings, as soon as I heard the name Aesudan, I kind of, like, got this sense of what she would be like. and that sense wasn't
Aesudan
wrong.
wasn't mentioned in in Way of Kings. She was mentioned in Words of Radiance.
Is
she was not named. She's not named in Way of Kings.
Oh, okay, interesting. Anyway, I just remember
yeah.
first hearing her name and being like, huh. And I don't know how to put it into words, but I just kind of got this sense about her, and it wasn't wrong from the name. So good name, Brandon.
And so we've talked a lot about Jasnah thus far, but let's dig into her. Honestly, we really need to do a full podcast on Jasnah, realistically.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about her, but she's obviously brilliant. She's a perfectionist. She's beautiful, according to Shallan. Well, really anyone.
Everyone.
Especially Shallan. But, and as you said, Alex, she had mental health issues in the past, but we don't really know what that means.
Not necessarily that she actually had mental health issues, but she was treated for them.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Like, I don't have the impression that that's going to be a thing where she actually had something. It was like, she saw something maybe, and, what it was very misinterpreted or did something. I don't know. Oh, and obviously she's just a total badass, right? Like, that's just a fact, right?
Yeah.
Jasnah being a badass.
She's vicious. When she wants to be.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've kind of talked, well, I guess we haven't talked about this in particular, but Elhokar and Jasnah got along fine, but they're used to doing their own sort of thing.
Yeah.
We have a word of Brandon on that.
What I find interesting about Jasnah's role in the family is that it's kind of this dual where she's like the independent one who goes off and does her own thing, but she's also very invested in keeping the family together. And you don't often see those attributes in the same person. Usually the kind of rebel who goes off on their own is like off doing their own thing and isn't super concerned. And then you have like the glue people who are like trying to hold their family together. And Jasnah's kind of both, which...
that is very interesting.
Yeah, like she doesn't, but the reason she leaves isn't because she, necessarily she has issues with her family, but she believes in the purpose of her mission so much.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Back to that same word of Brandon we keep referencing, talking about why she isn't at the Shattered Plains like with Elhokar. Well, partially because she doesn't want to give like Elhokar more shadows, but Brandon also says it was consideration to Jasnah, but if it had been right to stay for her quest, she would have.
The world's sort of gotta come. It's the world to Jasnah, then the Kholins, and then everyone else.
That's exactly it. Like she believes so much in her mission, and when it comes time to come back to her family, everyone's together at Irithiru. They're doing their work, and it's together as the Kholins.
Yep. Yeah, that's really interesting.
And another thing I find interesting about Jasnah is we've kind of been talking about how, like, some of the Kholins, it seems like they're in silos, and Jasnah's one of the people who I actually see her really having a significant relationship with every member of her family. Like her and Dalinar are quite close. Like maybe in Adolin and Jasnah, I don't know. But it seems like she knows what's going on in everyone's lives and has like at least some form of connection with everyone.
And it doesn't feel like any Kholin that we've interacted with has like a negative opinion of Jasnah. It's just like, she's awesome. I mean, she's very demanding and like, but it doesn't mean that she's not awesome in her own right. Like when Dalinar's like, oh, thank goodness Jasnah's gonna be back, right? And everyone's happy or is excited for Jasnah returning and to the Shattered Plains, which ends up not happening, which probably is why Navani mourned so much and why it was such a blow to their family, because she does feel like that glue that like everyone can look up to. She's brilliant and awesome and everything.
Speaking of Jasnah and relationships. Not to sound like Featherwriter about this, but like, like the idea that Jasnah's relationship with Renarin would be such a like impactful plot point in Oathbringer. Totally wouldn't have seen it coming. And especially
the fact that she loves her cousin so much, which is not a relationship we didn't see Renarin or Adolin talk about her really, but it was there. We just
and
like
it's one of those things about Jasnah that no one really believes is sort of like, I think like even in universe people have a hard time believing how much she cares.
Yeah,
you know, to be perfectly honest, until obviously Jasnah saving, not killing Renarin was emotional for me, right? But until this conversation where it's like, oh yeah, Jasnah's really protective of Kholins, right? And loves her family a lot. That like, oh yeah, that makes even more sense with that ending. And I don't know, like Jasnah's in the books, Jasnah's doing so many different things other than protecting her family for the most part, that she's on her quest. So it's almost a little easy to forget that. But clearly, you know, it comes through there and came through in the Wars of Radiance prologue, right?
Yeah. Well, and also, you know, like even her role as a Versatilian, I think that's how you say her particular brand of scholarship.
I think so.
Yeah. Like she's seeking truth, right? And there, like, she kind of breaks down and says, you know, it doesn't matter if your spren is evil or like what's going on. And you just kind of see this, how she really relates to Renarin. And I'm not sure if that's partially because of her past, as being kind of an outcast as well.
Yeah, right.
But she really chooses love over logic, you know, like, which Ivory and her kind of have that conversation earlier about how Jasnah isn't like a human. She's more like a spren because she makes sense.
Right.
And in that moment, she doesn't do the thing that makes sense. She does kind of, to get sappy, what her heart tells her to do. And it ends up being the right decision. It's what saves the day, right? Because it shows what that Renarin's vision can be wrong.
Yeah.
It's also, with, you know, Jasnah having these two things important to her, saving the world, saving Kholins, that's like butting heads in that moment, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a conflict there, and she chose that way, and it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
But
I was just saying, it's such I think we've kind of hit on this, but it's such an unexpected reaction from Jasnah. Like, if you told me going in, hey, one of the Kholins has odious influence and Jasnah is going to have to make the hard choice and kill them for the good of all, I would have been like, yep, that sounds like Jasnah. She'll do it. That's what's going to happen.
She would take that burden.
And then the fact that we like get into that moment and like Jasnah's love and compassion for, like, she just sees something in Renarin's eyes of what he's going through. And the fact that she has this compassionate, almost a breakdown, you know, like Jasnah hugging her cousin, Jasnah like crying and telling him that it's going to be okay. Like, it's so unexpected for Jasnah, but it gives her such a complexity that she was already so great and awesome. And it's like, here's this whole other side of her that, hey, that's there too. And it's like, I just love it. Jasnah's such a great character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Eric, it actually turns out that when the chips are down, it is Kholins first.
I guess so. Yeah, right.
In this situation, she's actually like, even that desire to save Kholins is in conflict with itself, because like she has that scene earlier when she's talking about most dynasties that fall from within.
Yeah.
And so I think she also is viewing Renarin in that moment as a danger to the rest of the family.
Yeah.
It's, you know, the individual, that family cousin relationship versus her protection of the whole family.
Yeah.
Or even potentially a danger to himself. I mean, if this is corruption, you know, she could be thinking, that's not Renarin anymore. Mm-hmm. That is
it's better,
some evil
it's better
spren has taken him over. I'd be, you know, freeing him from this influence.
Better to die as himself than become a Voidbringer or something.
Yeah.
And I wonder, how much of this role, like you see Jasnah assuming this role of protector of her family even before Gavilar passed away. So it's kind of interesting because it would kind of be logical for me to assume at least that, her father died, so she was like, I need to protect my family. But she was doing this even before.
Yeah, from the start.
Yeah.
From the start, which is really interesting.
I wonder if we'll see some kind of threat to the family early on that kind of makes her that way.
Mm-hmm.
I
wonder if there's something
like in
that,
her flashbacks?
that influenced when she was young. There was some, threat
that
to
was like
her family, threat to their legitimacy. Ooh. And I wonder if there was something that made her, I'm never going to let that happen again. Sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about all of this, and I'm just thinking there's still so much more of Jasnah that we can see. That in book 1, we see Jasnah in a very specific way, right? And in book 2, we get a bit of Jasnah, and then not much more Jasnah, right?
Yeah.
Then in Oathbringer, we do see more of Jasnah, but it's pretty utilitarian in a lot of respects, except this last moment.
I feel like about that, like except for like that last moment, I feel like a lot of Oathbringer is also just pointing out that Jasnah is a character who knows more than the reader does. That just because we see from her that we see from her point of view doesn't mean we get to know what Jasnah does. Like we get tons of stuff about like, remember that conversation you had with Hoyd? Remember, and then Jasnah, it's very explicit that Jasnah gets to hide things and we don't get to see it. So I feel like that's also, I think that's part of like the utility of her character is that she's going to be our link to some secrets.
And
basically,
in that way, she's really similar to how Kelsier functions in the first Mistborn book.
Yeah,
true.
Like he also gets those moments where he's like, "I know more, and I'm not going to tell you."
I'm just really excited for when we're going to get a book where we see Jasnah. We don't need to keep secrets. There's also an implication, a very strong implication that Jasnah had Shardplate and was using Shardplate in the battle and dismissed it, and we just saw her dismissing it very slightly.
And she doesn't think about it in her internal dialogue because it's not important to us.
Yeah. Well, but like I'm excited for when we don't have to have those secrets like that. Then Jasnah can just be like, oh yeah, Shardplate, yeah, okay, whatever, and it's not like a big deal, and we can like really dig into Jasnah. Like that's really exciting.
And the most blatant moment of that is when she's like, "Of course, I know what causes the recreants," and scene.
Right, exactly.
That one. Yeah,
that was the one painful. Where it's like we're gonna get this in this book, right, Brandon? Or I'm gonna flip all the tables.
We had so many things like, let's talk about, it was like the thing with Nail and Seth too. Let me tell you about the recreants. And then we go to Jasnah and it's like...
And Moash. Yeah.
And then it's like all the things of like, let me tell you about the recreants. Cutscene.
Yeah.
And then...
Cut away. Fade to black.
Terrible. Fade to black.
Man. Not to sound like Feather Rider, but I'm so excited to see more Jasnah in the Ghost Bloods.
Well, that's true.
I need more conflict there. Because that's going to be lots of fun.
I feel like Jasnah's going to win, and I'm excited for it.
I don't know.
I feel like if you put Jasnah against most anyone, it's probably a good idea to bet on Jasnah.
That's it's the first time I haven't felt just like deep anxiety about the Ghostbloods plotline. Because like, oh my god, finally someone competent is like getting in there. Sorry, Shallan. And is like getting in there.
Jasnah knows a lot more than Shallan. That's a fact.
Yeah. And it's sort of like, I feel like in the same way that Mraize also knows a lot and isn't sane,
Sure.
So it's sort of like, let's see two of these secret masters actually line up and...
I will say,
that sounds so cool.
I think my money for right now is on Mraize. For one, because I think narratively we need to see someone get the better of Jasnah.
I don't want it to be Mraize. I don't want it to be him.
I also think I think he's got Shallan doing exactly what he needs her to, and like she is the ghost blood pawn, whether she wants to be or not. And I think that's going to come into whatever their plans for Jasnah are.
You know what? I kind of do agree because I do think...
I don't think she's going to see Shallan.
I do think Jasnah has a bit of a blind spot. I do think she's a bit of a blind spot with Shallan.
Yeah.
Also,
that's true.
Jasnah just has less information at this point than the Ghostbloods. Like, for all of her learning and everything, like, the Ghostbloods are more Cosmere aware than Jasnah is.
Just straight up. Yeah, right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Just the conversations that we know she's had with Hoyd, I think Jasnah is Cosmere aware, like, to a greater extent than, like, we're guessing.
I think so, too.
Like, her being an Else Caller, her being, like, the OG Else Caller right now. I think...
Yeah.
Well, and with as long as she spent in Shadesmar, like, there's world hoppers there. Surely she bumped into somebody from another world and was like, oh, okay, that's a thing.
World hoppers aren't a secret in there. They're, like, in the hundreds. They're in the thousands. Who knows how many of them are on Roshar right now?
Merciful Domi, what heightening are you?
Right. In addition to, like, our hope of seeing Jasnah trying to be bested a little bit, I think with her now being queen... No. Like,
I forgot about that. How did I forget about that?
With her being queen...
Queen Jasnah.
Which is amazing, but, like, that's a little bit out of her comfort zone, right? Like, I don't think... Like, she's gonna be great, but she is not going to be perfect. And she's gonna take that pretty personally, I feel like, because she wants to be perfect, right?
I think...
And she's not gonna be the perfect queen.
I think...
I'm interested to see... Personally, the comparison to Elhokar, because I don't think there's any avoiding that comparison.
Yeah.
Is where is she going to succeed and or fail in comparison to what Elhokar did? Is she going to compare herself to her brother, or is she going to compare herself to her dad, or to Dalinar, or to just like another ideal that she has in her head? You know?
Ideals of the Radiance?
I meant, like, you know, her idea of, like, what being a good queen is.
And how is her relationship to Dalinar going to change through that? You know, because that's another thing.
Yeah.
I found it interesting how close Dalinar and Jasnah are.
I was pleasantly surprised.
But we kind of got hints of that in the early books. Like, Dalinar often thinks to himself, oh, I wish Jasnah was here.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Exactly,
like,
perfect.
Very often. And then we see when they do get together, they're really close uncle-niece relationship. And I kind of wonder, like, Jasnah often sees the truth of people. Like, she does have her blind spots, but she often is pretty aware of what's going on with other people, and she kind of understands them. And so I kind of wonder, how much Jasnah knew about Dalinar, you know, being a deeper thinker, even when he was not appearing that way.
Yeah. Jasnah sees, Dalinar, you know, has a blind spot for Sadeas, you know, like, it would not be surprising for Jasnah to realize things pretty quick.
I will say, aside from, in terms of, like, Jasnah's queenship, I think not only is she going to be compared to Elhokar, but she is also going to be considered as, you know, a female ruler in an Alethi society.
Definitely.
And I think that might be something that, since I'm always thinking about the Ghostbloods, that could be something that they try to sabotage. Because if they can undermine her authority through something early on, it's not just Jasnah's a bad ruler, it's no women should ever be rulers because look at what happens, yada yada.
It's also, like, related to Vorinism. The entire Vorin church there, and, like, whether or not the Ghostbloods are going to use Vorinism.
That and she's a heretic, right?
Yeah.
So, like that adds the heresy.
Dalinar's a heretic, Jasnah's a heretic, these Kholins are spitting in the face of our church.
That's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
But also, Kholinar is lost, and the Kholins seem to be the only ones leading the surviving Radiance. So it's sort of like, to be honest, I think Vorinism is going to put up a fight, but I don't think they're actually going to... I don't think that system is going to win.
I feel like we're going to have some Vorin church antagonists
I
in the
think so
upcoming
too.
books. Yeah.
I do. I just don't think that they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be obviously close to the level unless I guess the Ghost Bloods get involved. But I just don't see them being like that big of a threat by comparison to what else they're dealing with.
I'm really excited to see
I know
Jasnah stuff. Like, the more I talk about it, wow, there is so many things that can happen with Jasnah. But I'm getting more and more certain that with Jasnah being a perfectionist, things with her being the ruler will not always go her way, because in any government, if you're the leader, things are not going to go your way, right?
She's not going to be the boss of her own independent research team. She actually has to listen to other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be that's going to be tough for her, I think.
I was honestly surprised at the end of Oathbringer that, Shallan had that moment where she's like, "Oh, how come you guys haven't considered Jasnah?" On one hand, it's like, duh, like of course you should consider her. But on the other hand, I was kind of like, oh, I kind of assume they did consider her and she wouldn't want the job. So I was kind of surprised.
But no, you find out it was just sexism.
Yeah, then I'm like, oh.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
The end of the Scooby-Doo episode, it was sexism all along.
But again,
fine, it was Vorinism all along.
Vorinism.
Yeah,
it's a little different than our...
It's cultural, long-term cultural sexism, and I mean, like, the whole, masculine and feminine roles, the things are very specific in Vorinism. So it was really all Vorinism all along with a healthy dose of sexism in Vorinism.
Yes.
The sexism baked into the society. Yes.
Oh, yes.
As it is in ours.
Yeah. So we're going to do a full Jasnah podcast, analyzing her in Oathbringer and more theories on that, because so many people are interested in Jasnah, especially people not on this current podcast. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this segment of the Kholin family?
So this family, Gavilar is the dad, Navani, Elhokar, Jasnah, Aesudan.
Yep.
They just seem distant. That's kind of like my takeaway after all this, like from each other.
I'd agree.
Oh,
just
looking forward to Gavinor in coming books. Especially after the time skip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know how that's
the big time skip, not the little time skip.
Yeah, big one.
See, I want to see what his personality is. I want to see, the nature versus nurture, what does he, how does he take, who does he take after more?
Yeah, well, and who's going to raise him, right?
Yeah, it was sort of like Bridge 4.
Yeah, Kaladin. Cool. Well, we are going to talk about Dalinar and his segment of the family next week, and we'll definitely talk immediately about Jasnah and Dalinar's relationship, so don't worry. We haven't just forgot about those. There's just so much to talk about, and we have been recording already for a long time. So we are going to go into who's that Cosmere character? Hey.
Da-na-na.
Yay.
So, you guys know the game. There are 5 clues. And after each clue, you will get to guess a character. And you can send your Who's That Cosmere Character guesses, or clues, to Who's That Cosmere Character at gmail.com. So are you all ready?
Are we the ones playing?
Yes.
You are the ones playing, yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, sorry, you don't know the game of Who's That Cosmere.
I don't know the game.
It's been a while.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yes.
All right, this one, I'm actually not going to tell you who this one's from until the end. So, number 1, this character has mysterious motivations.
Oh my god, what kind of a clue is that? This is the Cosmere.
What kind of...
Maurice.
I was like, I knew you were going to say that.
I had to go. I have to be on break.
Hoyd.
No.
Okay.
Edgley.
Ooh, no.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I think that's how I pronounce it.
It depends.
Okay.
We actually did a endowment podcast where we argued about that. So
okay, who says Edgley?
Grace does.
Edgeley. I had never even considered Edgeley.
I know, me either. But
a
Grace
whole
does
new
that.
world.
Okay.
Clue 2. This character died.
Okay. Mysterious motivations.
It has died.
And has died.
Wow.
You're giggling.
I am giggling. I am giggly.
I was going to ask for more hints, but you can't give more hints. That's the whole nature of the game.
You can pass your clue. That's fine. Pass for the next clue. That's
What
fine.
Well, I don't want to give up a.
Yeah, I know. You can take a shot in the dark.
And has died. Oh.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna say Rashek.
No.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking. I mean, Kelsier comes to mind, but I really don't think it's Kelsier because he's not that mysterious.
He's not so mysterious. You kind of know what he's about.
Did Kelsier
He wants to start
die?
cults. We've talked about that.
Sorry?
Did Kelsier die?
He's dead.
He's dead.
I would.
His physical body died.
Do one of you guys want to guess Kelsier?
No, I'm gonna go Suit.
I'll guess Kelsier. Fine. No. I'll just rule it out.
Yeah. So. It is not Kelsier.
Okay.
You ready for a clue 3?
Yeah.
Clue 3. This character was very powerful at one point.
Oh my god.
And he's not the Lord Ruler.
He's not the Lord Ruler. He's not Kelsier. He's not Hoid, because Hoid's not dead.
Ada Nulcium?
It is Ada Nulcium!
Wow.
The next clue is this character was very important to at least one central character's storyline in the Cosmere. And clue 5, this character has never appeared on screen.
Nice. Very nice.
Do you know who sent this one in?
Who sent this one in?
Ben, Overlord Jeebus. He sent it.
How
Ben,
dare
I'm gonna take
Jeebus?
issue with this because I can. Because you're
that?
Ben.
No, that's fine.
Is Adenalcium a character?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Adenalcium
we
is
know
a
that at this
person.
stage. Yeah. We know that they have motivations. It's not just some mindless force.
Yeah. I don't know.
Look. If Ian demanded that named Axehounds use the character template on the Coppermind, Adenalcium's a character.
That's fair.
Oh my god.
All right.
Adenalcium, are you kidding me?
I know, that's why I kept giggling. All right. This next one is from Lady Lameness, who edits the Coppermind a lot and listens.
Oh yeah,
and
I've seen her around. Thank you.
Yeah. Clue 1. This character has light violet eyes.
Jasnah.
No.
Okay, cool.
I'll go last since I guessed it.
What?
I'll go last in the rotation since I guessed the last.
Okay, I'll do Shalosh.
No.
Navani.
No.
She is not. I don't think she has violet eyes, right? Anyway.
I don't remember. Whenever anyone does these Who's That Cosmere characters and it's like, they have this eye color, I'm like, I don't remember any of these things.
Okay, cool.
Me personally. Next clue. This character has a nasally accent.
Is it French? Is that what they mean by nasally?
They gotta be somebody Rosharan. Nobody else has violet eyes, right?
That's what I'm trying to think. Is that like a smoke
I'm just trying
screen?
to think, do the people on the color planet, do they have violet eyes?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Maybe.
Oh.
Light violet is very specifically a light eyes color, though.
Right.
Yeah, like that's like...
Is it Elhokar on a Thursday?
Elhokar has gold.
It is not Elhokar on a Thursday.
Elhokar in the Technicolor Dream Eyes.
I don't even remember what Elhokar's eye color is.
That's because it's changed like 7 times. No, they're green, like Gavilar, I think is what. It was gold at one point, but I think they're green.
Okay, all right. Actually, say the second clue again.
Nasally accent.
This character has nasally accent.
Nasally accent.
Oh, I have a guess.
Is it? No, he's not nasally. Accent.
Yeah.
Not a nasally voice, a nasally accent. I mean, maybe that's not a good distinction.
Welcome to Pedantic Cast, Shannon. We argue about what clues mean and who's that Cosmere character. Welcome to the show.
Hey, you know, I belong here. That's
No, I know. I completely agree. We've argued on these things so many times. Like,
good. I found my people.
Yeah. Does like fate unknown mean they have to die on like off screen, or like
Oh my
that
goodness.
one was,
They disappear off screen. Okay.
God,
Um,
that one was a troll one.
nasally accent. Cedius.
No.
Okay.
All right. Clue 3.
Wait.
Oh,
You
sorry.
got 2 more guesses this
I'm gonna guess ILA.
No.
She was my other guess.
I'm gonna say Enkima.
Oh. No. Clue 3. This character heads a rebellion.
Rebellion.
What?
Heads a rebellion?
Yeah.
Surely not. I have a
Is it-
guess,
Oh
but
shoot!
Say it.
I thought I was going last though.
You
No, you're
guess-
not.
it
You
doesn't
can
matter.
guess it
doesn't
whenever
matter.
order
It
you
doesn't
want.
matter.
Is it
It doesn't
Yedin?
matter, Alex. No.
I was like, surely Yedin didn't have violet eyes. I would have remembered that, right?
Heads a rebellion. See, now I'm thinking about Miss.
Oh, frick. I think I know now. Dang it.
Okay, sorry, I just missed. My headphones came unplugged. What did people guess?
Yedin has been the only guess for this one.
Yedin. Okay.
Demu. Sure. I don't know anything about Mistborn. I forget
No.
everything about
Wow.
about that universe.
Ooh.
Like, I'm wondering if it's is it the Ardent who stood up to Aesudan?
Pie.
Is it Pi?
I don't think she-
No.
Okay.
I have a guess for next
All right.
time if it doesn't get
All
to
right.
bonus.
All right. All right. So, clue 4. This
Okay.
character loses their father when they are 7 years old.
Oh my god, what?
What?
Okay, never mind. I was thinking of the guy that Vasher kills in the prologue.
Var? Yeah.
he was my next guess.
Yeah, I don't think we know that backstory of Var.
No, we don't.
Lost their father when they were 7.
7.
I'm so bad at this.
God, I love this.
These are some tough
wonderful.
ones.
This
This
is
is
like
so-
why
I thought for sure you would
This
get
is-
it at this stage.
this is like why the Coppermine people are so good at these.
I can't
That's
even.
true.
They
To
look at
be
all the
fair,
obscure.
Lady Lameness has stumped like Ian and I. I'm like, God, I have no
Man,
idea. Like,
I
ugh.
don't even know what world we're on.
I don't know what world we're on.
I feel like that's why I feel like the Violet Eyes is a smoke screen. I feel like Violet Eyes is going to make us think Roshar,
There
and I
haven't been
feel
that
like it's
many.
actually something else.
There haven't been that many
When do we get-
revolutions on Roshar. That's the thing. I'm like,
Revolution.
also somebody
You
that
guys
we.
want the next clue?
Somebody that we.
Is it Vasher?
No, it's not Basher.
I don't know anything. Listen.
Fudge.
Okay, next clue.
Next clue,
clue?
I guess.
This character shares a name with another character.
Oh, Tenelan.
Which one?
The younger.
Yes, it's Bright Lord Tantalon, the son.
Oh.
Yes. Alex, I love how you were just on the no. Violet eyes, that
I was like,
means
it's-
not Roshar.
No, I was like, it's gotta be Roshar. But then we said revolution, and I was like, there haven't been that many
No, I
revolutions.
said rebellion.
Well,
I said
whatever, rebellion. Whatever.
Rebellion resolution.
It's the same thing.
Tenelan.
That's the one that threw me off. I was all
Because I
of a
got
sudden
mixed
like,
up because they were
Bar?
both the same name.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
was like,
good
oh my
one.
god, Tenelan the younger. Woo.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
a
I'm so- I
very
have so much-
good. That was a good one.
I have so much adrenaline right now.
I need to reread Oathbringer. I do not remember the Oathbringer characters well enough
Okay,
yet.
listen, it's because I was doing Dalinar's, and the Tantalans are kind of important to
Yes, that's
Dalinar's
true.
page.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes. Yes.
Because
Indeed.
There you go.
Yeah, those are some great clues, guys.
Thank you.
And very hilarious to listen to. I now understand people just skipping to the Who's That Cosmere characters, which I've heard happens at a few points.
Really?
Yep.
Who would do is such a thing?
We're Act 5 with the trolls?
Matt, do you know which episode some people commented that they skipped right to Who's That Cosmere character, Matt?
Is it the pedantic or the half shard?
It was the half shard. Yeah, it was the half shard one. Which was really pedantic.
I hope I've redeemed myself from that.
We'll see.
You have, but you haven't redeemed not loving Tom, so.
I'm sure I'll never live that down.
Never.
Never ever will.
All right, guys. So we will see you next time. Come to 17shard.com for all your news discussion. We got fun and games and nonsense and, of course, intense theories all the time, all day, every day. And come to the Discord where we got the same thing. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can leave us a review on iTunes. That would be great. And we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Caw.